Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Christal Jordan. I am your host for Let's Get Christal Clear. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we get into today's conversation, which of course is going to be another good girlfriend conversation, I want you to go to the bottom of your screen right here and click on subscribe. It's very important that you subscribe so you can get all the amazing conversations that are coming your way, and I appreciate it so much. Also, if you have comments on any of the interviews that you see on this page, feel free to leave comments. I definitely respond back. And feel free to also leave messages and your information if you have content that you think would be great for Let's Get Christal Clear. With that being said, joining me today is inspirational singer Y'anne Crawley. Welcome, Y'anne.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming out.
Yes.
Coming out. Now, people met you in 2010 when you won Sunday's Best.
2009.
2009,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
2009,
yes.
You won Sunday's Best. BET's Gospel, it's kind of like a reality contest show.
Yes.
I'm sure people have seen it. How did your life change when you went from just singing to being a singer on BET after winning a national reality show?
My life changed drastically. That show afforded me bigger platforms, me traveling all around the world.
Yeah.
So, and me just meeting some wonderful people, especially people that I looked up to and aspired to be, like as far as the industry wise and singing. So it's just been amazing. It's been an amazing ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always want to ask people, when you go from just being, I don't want to say regular person, because I think we're all regular people. Everybody is a regular person. But when you go from not being known publicly to walking out the house and people knowing who you are, how was that? How did you adjust to that?
Well, you know what? I kind of had a precursor. So God kind of already had me in that space. Back at home in DC, we have our own genre of music called go-go.
Yeah.
And so I sang go-go 7 nights a week.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, there were big crowds. I mean, I quit my job singing.
Just singing. Okay,
Yeah,
so you were already professionally
yeah,
singing.
so I was already on the stage in front of people, have done cable TV, have done, stuff in the likes of singing background for a lot of people that used to come in for BET. You remember Lyric Cafe?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day?
Absolutely.
So I was one of the staple singers that used to sing background.
Sing background. Nice.
So it changed much. I'm just that humble girl from DC, but to have people, like if I go into Walmart, I can't go into Walmart just looking like anything, because I was followed around Walmart one time.
Wow.
And then my son was just like, Mommy, you do realize you was on a national TV show.
You were on BET, girl.
Yeah, so, in that sense, it's a cool thing to be known. It's a humbling thing also.
Is it ever something that is inconvenient for you?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not inconvenient at all. Well, you know what? When I go out and I'm with my family and I'm eating, and people want to take pictures and things, I still oblige them, but I'll let them know this is family time. If you can wait till after I'm done.
Right.
So it's really not an inconvenience to me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good, because I know, and I guess being a gospel inspirational singer, it may be a little different. People can be rude, and people can be. People can be a lot sometimes when it's a celebrity. They feel like they know.
They know you.
They know you.
And especially the first thing that come out their mouth is, "I voted for you, girl, so you got to take a
you
picture
owe
with
them.
me."
You owe them.
I owe them, and
right.
I'm like, okay, So I mean, but it's cool though, because they do feel like they know you because they watched your journey.
Right.
They voted for you.
They cheered
and
you on.
They gained the likes of you. So yeah, of course.
Yeah. How was it going from singing go-go music to singing gospel inspirational music?
It really wasn't a transition for me like that much, because I grew up in a musical oriented family. My uncle is Glenn Jones, my aunt was Genovia Jeter Jones, and my uncle is the late great Julius Cheeks, who sang with the Soul Stirrers, which was Sam Cooke and all of those people.
Wow.
So I tell people the stories all the time. My grandmother's house was my first stages. Like
that's a lot of pressure with the family that you have.
Okay.
Wow.
So growing up with jazz and blues and all genres being played in my household, it was just one of those things that I was able to be a 360 singer all the way around. So the transition wasn't hard at all, because I had all of those things kind of girded up under my belt to know,
know. That's a good, I like that, girded up under the belt. That feels very gospel.
Oh, it's in me now.
Now, do you feel, because I think a lot of times people have an assumption of what a gospel singer represents, or even, we mentioned inspirational. There's been, I think, a change of people not wanting to be be called gospel because it maybe excludes them from mainstream. Have you ever felt pressure to live your life a certain way, or for people may look at you and put you on a pedestal because they think, oh, she's a gospel singer, so she isn't supposed to have these type of issues. She shouldn't have this type of temptation. Has that ever been an issue?
Yes, it has been an issue. And I remember at one point in time, I mean, after I won Sunday Best, I was gung-ho. I'm not going to do this. I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing this and I'm changing. And at this time, you know, I had my son at 17 out of wedlock. Had my second son. My son was 2 at the time.
Oh, wow.
I still wasn't married.
Yeah.
So it was just like, even being in a relationship with the guy,
Yeah.
it was just like, you know, so now you changing, like you just gonna cut everything off. If I can
Right.
be real with you, you know,
Right, yeah.
you started one way, but then now you trying to cut everything off. So it was a pressure on me to live
Yeah.
my life like this. I'm carrying this cross.
Yeah.
And da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But you can't, I mean, you know, we live for God, but we're imperfect people.
We're all imperfect
We're
people.
imperfect people.
And I think a lot of times, you know, we don't have to name any names.
Right.
Gospel singers, pastors, ministers all kind of get caught into this web of what they're preaching and then their lifestyle not necessarily matching up. And you have to remember, I've always been taught, because I grew up in the church also, that you have to connect to the message as opposed to the man, because the man is human.
That's right.
Like you are. And so you try to be the best example you can, but it's unfair of us sometimes to put as much pressure. Sometimes those people are fronting and, you know, trying to keep up appearances. But I think it just kind of all goes in with them trying to keep up with what they feel like is expected of them.
Yeah.
How have you balanced that out now? Because obviously when you first won, it probably was a lot. But how have you found your balance now in being Y'anna and still, you know, singing inspirational music, but still being, you know, just a woman out here dealing with some of the same things that other women are dealing with?
I found my balance by just knowing authentically who I am and who God created me to be, and knowing in the Word it said we're all gonna fall short, you know, and not that I'm using His grace or, you know, what the cross represents and what Christ did for us as an excuse to say, oh, I can sin and do whatever,
Right.
you know, because I do have a conscience and I do have a conviction because the Holy Spirit does live down inside of me. But my way of balancing it is just to know that I'm human,
Yeah.
you know, and I know that Christ did die for me, but, you know, I'm not deliberately out here going to do anything, you know, just
Right.
to be doing it, you
Right.
know, but I have flaws. And again, I hate to keep saying it, but we're all imperfect people.
Yeah, we do.
You know?
We all have flaws.
Yeah, we all have flaws.
I want to get into your book because I love the fact that you wrote this book and it kind of talks a little bit about what we're talking about, women's journey, and just, you know, everyone has a journey, but we obviously know women's journey a little bit better being women.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you before I go into that, do you have any, because sometimes as a Christian or someone who aligns themselves with that faith, right now we're in a very heated political climate, period. We have been for quite a while. Do you feel a pull to connect to one political party because of your religious beliefs, or has that been something that you don't really get into?
That's something that I really don't get into. I mean, I do vote and I do, you know, do my research, and I go off, I pray about everything. So I just like, you know, God lead me. But it is one of them things I'm just like, I'm not about to do no debating. I'm not about to, just because somebody say this or that, you know, I just go off of what I'm led to do.
'Cause I think religion has been pulled into that,
Oh, of course.
especially as of late.
Church and state is always.
It is.
You
It's
know.
uncomfortable. It's
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
So tell me, first of all, what your book here, Pieces of Me, Pieced Together by You, an interactive devotional memoir. I love the fact that it's a book and it tells your perspective, but it also allows women to go in and actively interact and be a part of creating their own journey. So what inspired you to write this?
What inspired me? My life, my journey, the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations that I had gone through. You know, winning Sunday Best, again, has afforded me, you know, this platform. But after winning Sunday Best, life I had to live.
Right,
It
right,
happened.
right.
And it wasn't all, you know, good for me. This dates back all the way to my childhood, how,
Yeah.
you know, things were implemented in my childhood that kind of shaped me as a woman. I can remember way back, just remembering how my self-image was tarnished. I can remember way back, you know, how I was looking for that love from my father and didn't get it, so I was looking for love in all the wrong places.
That's
and that's
true.
with the guys, which led me to have my son at 17, then another one at 30. Didn't get the ring nor the man, because
Right.
they're both gone, you know?
Yeah.
So what made me write this is because even before Sunday Best, women were drawn to me, and I couldn't figure out why, but they would always come to me for counsel, always come to me for whatever, and I'm just like, okay, God, why? And I know now, because I have a light and I'm real, and I'm just transparent,
Right.
to let you know, hey sis, I've been there, you know, and if I can overcome this, you can too.
Absolutely.
Not knowing that it was going to turn into this, where it will
yeah.
help so many people. I mean, my tears is in this book.
Yeah.
My joy is in this book. My fight is in this book, you know? So I just wanted to put it all together. And I didn't even know it was going to be seamlessly written like this, but it came together.
It came together.
And this
I
is
love
what
the
we
fact
have.
that you have yourself as a little girl, and I
Yeah.
think most of us have a picture like this, those barrettes, those braids, and that's kind of when the issues that you have start,
Yeah.
right? Because I think that you mentioned your father and those relationships, whatever your situation was, whether your father was in the house or mother was in the house or out, whatever your issues are, kind of start at that age, right? Talk a little bit about when you became aware that you were suffering or had suffered with self-esteem issues.
I became aware, like, I want to say around high school. High school. Started seeing, I was always the thickest one out the bunch. All of my girlfriends.
Praise God for the thick girls.
Praise God for the thick girls. So I was always the thickest one out of the bunch.
Yeah.
I was always the one that all of my girlfriends could wear, you know, the little shoes and things. I'm a size 10, you know, so I had the big feet. But, you know, and I just was like, you know, God, why am I so different? All of my girlfriends, you know, they're skinny, but that never stopped me from being a majorette, the captain of the majorette
There you go,
team,
girl.
the head of the dance team,
Right.
the lead in choir. I played violin, so I channeled all of that energy into that, not knowing then that I was kind of masking it a little bit and not really hitting the issue on the head. But as I grew older, knowing how I used to place myself in certain situations is because, oh, you're trying to
compensate
for what you're feeling right now. So what hit the nail on the head is when I moved from DC and moved here. I left everything at home, drove down here with just my car, my clothes, and 2 TVs.
Yeah.
And I said it in the book. Me moving here forced me to face me.
Right. Wow.
So
you get everything, take everything else away from you. It does. I think that's an interesting thing, and I think that's one of the issues that Black women specifically deal with, because we can be dealing with self-esteem issues, but it doesn't look like it.
Nope.
Because you don't think a girl that is head of the majorettes, you know, dance squad, doing all that she's dealing with, that doesn't seem like a person that is dealing with self-esteem issues. And I think that is something that culturally we can all relate to. I think every little brown-skinned girl growing up, at least in the 80s and 90s, had some type of, you could not have a self-esteem issue of some type because we weren't seen on television. You know, it was very, very few of us, and it wasn't, especially if you were thick, it was just it was a wrap. It was a wrap. So, but the typical symptoms of low self-esteem a lot of times aren't exhibited in our culture because we're taught to push against that, right? So then no one's coming to you and saying, are you okay? Because you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got obviously a great talent that people were aware of before that. And there had to be a sense of strength, but still there was hurting. And a lot of times that comes out in relationships with the opposite sex.
Yeah. And I saw it growing up. You know, you don't realize, but I remember seeing my mom going off and being quiet and tears just falling down her eyes, and her and my dad having, you know, issues and things. I didn't know what it was then, but then just knowing now, like, so that's
what
why,
that was.
Yeah.
Now I
that's why
can.
you push and don't say nothing, get quiet and by yourself and close. You know, so it's one of those things. But thank God for therapy.
Yeah.
Thank God for prayer.
Yeah.
Thank God for just being a fighter,
being able to get up,
resiliency, and getting up, and all of that good stuff. Because if not, Y'anna wouldn't be sitting right here today. Okay.
Now, you also talk a lot about self-love, and I think that's I guess the next step from all that is learning. Once you realize this is what I'm dealing with, how did you change that internal perspective of yourself?
Like I said, moving here forced me to face me. I was always used to being around people. So that helped. Yeah. Close-knit family, that helped. Girlfriends, I grew up with 10 girlfriends. We did everything together. Yeah. That helped. If I'm feeling a certain way, I can go around them and it just make distractions. Yeah. There it is. But me being here, I had no distractions. So I had to do the work. Yeah. That's just it. Yeah. We have to do the work, because you can have faith all day long. You can speak it, but if you don't do that work, it's not going to get done.
It's not faith without works.
It's not going to get done.
Without the works, it's dead.
So I got up, I started getting therapy, got up and started working out. I was on my, my whole working out regimen and all that good stuff. And I was just like, Y'anne, you got to do it. Because if not, you're going to succumb to this. Right. And you can't, because you got 2 young kids that's watching you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now I want to ask you this, and this is something I think is the proof in the pudding, right? Because we talk about, everyone says you got to learn to love yourself, but I want to ask you specifically your relationships with the opposite sex. So when you're dating, right? We talked about being single in Atlanta.
Come on, girl.
How are you dating? How does learning to love yourself and having a better attitude about you change your dating behavior? How did you see that change in the men that you, not that it's easy,
it's not easy
not that
at
it's
all.
easy,
it's not.
even with a great sense of self, but how did you see yourself interacting with the opposite sex differently after you got healthy?
I noticed by choosing a different demographic.
There you go.
When you're in a certain space, you attract that same thing.
Amen.
I got tired of that.
Yeah.
I kept saying, now, it can't be them.
Right.
There's got to be something in you, too.
It keeps happening.
You got to take responsibility.
Right.
So in doing the self-love and doing the work, you know your worth now. Yeah. So you know you're not taking out everybody. It's not going to be 100%. You know what I'm saying? But it's just certain things that I know that I'm not accepting now. Right. You know, so that's loving you. That's doing the work. And it's about, saying no. Amen. Hello? Saying no. Right. And I'm not just one that's just going to go out with you just to get a dinner or a date. If I'm not vibing or we not here, from the first conversation, I know. I know this is going to be cool or it's not going to be cool. I'm not, baby, we too. I'm in my prime, baby. I ain't got time.
That's on the waste. No more minutes. No more minutes to waste. No more minutes to waste. I think that's so important. And I think that a lot of times we talk about that, but we don't talk about how that shows up. And I think that I've gone through the same thing. I've been very candid about it. And I used to feel like if a guy showed interest in me, I needed to show interest back just because it's almost like, oh, well, he's being nice to me, I should be nice to him. Not that I'm ever going to be not, kind or gracious to someone, but just because someone shows me interest, if we're not moving towards the same goal, that's not someone I need to entertain. Exactly. And it's okay to say no.
It's okay to say no.
I didn't say no when it came to work, when it came to men. I mean, I didn't say no as far as certain things. I don't want people to go crazy. But I'm just saying, as far as like if someone asked you out, I felt a pressure to please other people. How did you manage to kind of get your voice to say, I'm good on that?
You want me to be real honest?
I want you to get real. Get crystal clear.
Hey, so it recently just started. Okay. Because I was just like, Y'anne, you can't keep saying yeah and then running into the same thing. Yeah. And then I found they would get angry. And I'm just like, okay, but I'm being honest with you.
Right, that part.
You have to respect the fact that I'm being honest with you. Right. Like, no, this is not going to be cool. Like, we don't know. Oh, you thinking that. Okay, brother. All right. Have a good day.
Bless you.
Bless you. Yeah. So just, just me just being upfront and honest. Some people can respect it, some people can't. Yeah. And that's not my problem if you can't. Take it up with God.
That's it. I learned it's more about them. Yeah. Because I would have so many issues where I was like, and then years later, you get a call or a text, you were a really good person. I wasn't ready. And I'm like, dang it, all this time, I was thinking it was me. Yeah. You mentioned in the book that you always wanted to be a wife and a mom. And I think sometimes when we're not in that place, it can feel, I love the fact that you were candid about that, because it can feel a little bit vulnerable to admit that that's what you want. Do you still want to be a wife?
Still want to be a wife. Let me tell you why I wrote that and who kind of inspired me to say, oh, okay, that was cool. I heard Anita Baker said she had two dreams. She wanted to be a singer and a wife. And I thought I was the only one. I mean, I can remember playing with dolls and making my family playing with the dolls and everything. Like when I was a young girl, I always wanted to be a wife. I had twin Cabbage Patches. You know, I was just setting them up. I had so many. So, you know, that was just one of the things that I wanted to do. Partially probably because I felt, again, like I wrote in my book, because my biological father wasn't in my life, but I had a stepfather. So I always felt like I was in the middle. I felt like I didn't belong. So I wanted to create my
something
own,
that was yours.
That was mine, that I can call my own. So, but yeah, of course, I still want to be a wife. I'm preparing myself to be a wife.
I love it.
You know?
Yeah. Well, these ATL streets are hard, but we believe God is a bigger, God is a God that can answer prayer.
May not be here in ATL.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But I
from somewhere
else. So,
okay.
I've had people tell me things, but I just feel like whatever God has, it won't pass you. And I think that you're proof of that. Look at what you've been able to overcome. Look at the spirit that you have in the midst of being in a place where you may not be 100% comfortable. You talked about getting out of your comfort zone in the book. Tell people how they can get a copy of the book and how they can get, if you have music, you have a single out, right?
I have a single. I have a couple of songs
she got a
here
lot
or there.
out. Right. Right.
So you can go to my social media, which is Y'anna Soul Sings on IG. To get the book, you can go to Amazon.com, or if you can go to my website, IamYannacrawley.com.
Okay.
My music is on
everywhere.
all digital, outlets. So,
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Love it. Can you sing a little something to take us out, just to put us in a good place? Just grace us with a little something.
So I got a song that I wrote for the book.
Okay.
That I'm going to release. It's called Pieces of Me. You
Okay. Yeah.
You know I did you wrong. Sorry I committed my sins. I know I never meant to intentionally hurt you, though I did, and I'm sorry. Oh, nobody taught me that I should love me first. Wow. I've given my all, got nothing in return, but the love that I needed, I found it in me. Now I see these are the pieces of me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Y'anna Crawley. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next time.